Well, good morning. Welcome to Journeys with Jessica. I'm so excited to be here today with Deann Stevens. We are here to talk about her journey along the way of becoming a CFP. As we all know, it can be different for everybody how we get there and our experiences. But my hope and wish and prayer is that at the end of today, you take one nugget with you that can help you on your journey. So, welcome, Deann. How are you?
Hi, Jessica. I am fine. Thank you very much.
So tell me about yourself. Tell me about your journey here. I've got
Mhm.
some things that I think we have in common that I can't wait to dive into, but start us off.
Okay, so let's see, where do I start? Okay, so I have a background in accounting. That's actually what my undergraduate degree is in, and so I graduated from with that degree a long time ago.
Okay.
And let's say probably about 25 years into my accounting career, I had reached let's see, my last job before what I started here now, I was the assistant controller there. And so I was kind of thinking, do I want to continue down this accounting path? Do I want to be a controller? Do I want to be the CFO? And it's like, no, not really. So I just started thinking about, okay, what other possible career paths could I transfer my skill set to, not wanting to totally completely start over from zero. So I looked at data analysis because I actually did quite a bit of that in my accounting and analyst profession. And that's something that I really enjoy. I love playing with data, crunching data, churning out
Numbers, the
reports.
puzzles, the
Yes, that people use to make decisions. So I looked at that pretty closely, but there was some coding requirements, like Python's a big language that you should probably know if that's something that you're interested in. And I just didn't really feel like devoting time to that. So then I also looked at planning because I love all things personal finance.
yep.
And so I decided I would see, could I go down that career route? And so I started applying at firms in my area. And so I got brought on at an RIA here in Atlanta. We're part of Savant Wealth Management. We're part of a national firm, and I'm in the Atlanta office. I got brought on as an associate advisor, and I took the CFP exam last November and I passed it. I can't thank
Yay.
you. I can't use the marks right now because I'm still under the 2 year requirement. So next year, I think around May is when I finish up with the experience side of it.
Wow, that
Yeah.
is incredible. You
Hmm.
that so I my former I graduated college with a finance and accounting degree.
Hmm.
I worked at Deloitte. I got my CPA. I did
Yeah.
all that.
Hmm.
Unlike you, I retired from that world in 2000, or no, in 2010,
Hmm.
2011. And I went into sales for about 14, 15 years. And just recently, well, 5 years ago, came back to this. I was
Okay.
not wise because I let my CPA expire. Kicking myself in the butt for that one. But it's really interesting because, there's only so far you can go in certain careers or industry.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
especially as a controller and stuff, you hit a point where like there's what else can you
Yes.
do?
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
and how can you move up? And the
Hmm.
financial planning world, like it is just wild, the possibilities that we have and the number of lives that we can touch. It's not just one
Yes.
company. It's
Hmm.
not, it is literally getting in there and building those relationships and helping people out.
Yes.
So when did you decide to go for your CFP? So you passed November
Of
last year.
2024. Yes.
Okay. And then fill me in on what that looked like.
So I started in my current position. Well, when I came on, I was an associate advisor. I started in May, and having your CFP is one of the requirements to move up to the next level, which is financial advisor one. At our
Okay.
firm, we have associate advisor, financial advisor one, two, and three, and then you can become a member. So buy in some
Okay.
equity in the company.
Yep.
So that was just a goal that was set. One of my first performance goals that was set was for me to take and pass the CFP exam. And I'm glad I got it out of the way. A
Yeah.
lot of my other colleagues across the firm, those at the associate advisor level, sometimes they'll wait until the 2 years is under their belt and then they'll take it, which sometimes I look back and I was like, maybe I should have done that. But, I'm glad it's out of the way and I don't have to deal with it anymore. So because of my accounting degree, I didn't have the correct education requirements.
Okay.
So I had to do the 7 courses,
Oh,
the
you
six
did? You
plus the
still had to
technical.
do that with the
Yes,
CPA?
yes, I still did have to do that.
Okay.
Mhm. So I actually did it through Brett Danko's program. I know a
Mhm.
lot of people are familiar with the review, but what a lot of people might not know is that they also do the education courses.
Fast track.
So they have a fast track program, yes, and that's what I did. So I started in March and then we were done in October. I went to one of the live reviews and then I tested the first week in November or something like that.
Good
Yeah.
for you.
Hmm.
It really is incredible. I mean,
Yes.
you're fortunate that you passed on the first time because it's a journey.
Yes.
I had used the Danko program. I did not do the fast track, which,
Hmm.
in hindsight, I think given that I was a career changer too and not
Hmm.
hadn't been in the field, which you are new in the
Yes.
field as well,
Hmm.
how powerful that can be.
Hmm.
Um, like I just think that's so important. And I don't think there's one perfect review program. And that's what I try, the more
Right.
people I've talked to
Yeah.
it, there's Danko, there's Kaplan, but
Hmm.
it's more how you I found how you work with it.
Yes.
Because some people can get the playbook and boom, 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 they're good. But
Yeah.
if you don't have the experience or if, test taking is more difficult for you, then
Hmm.
it may not look exactly like it's prescribed, I guess you could
Yeah.
say.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
so, what did you learn in the process about yourself that you didn't know?
Hmm.
Were there any, again, I know you took it once, but like anything looking back, you're like, wow, that thing really made a difference for me.
Actually, looking back on my experience, I would absolutely say the tutoring helped. I know you also know Paul Austin. He was
Yep.
one of my tutor. He was a tutor, and I worked with him for maybe the last 2 or 3 months leading up to the
Okay.
exam. Before that, I was pretty much self-study.
Yep.
Danko, their program doesn't have a question bank per se, so they give you a lot of questions with the course material, and you'll get a lot also as part of the review. But while I was studying, I'm just the type of person, I need questions. I
Repetition,
need
repetition.
examples, I need to
Yep.
see this stuff in practice. Like I'm not just okay, I read the material and now I get it. No, I
Memorize it,
have
and then
to,
I can answer a question
yeah,
from.
yeah. No, I need to tons of practical application. So
Yep.
I actually did buy the Kaplan Q Bank, and so
Put it
I
on.
would work that on my own. I found that to be very helpful for concepts that I was having trouble with.
Yeah.
YouTube was a great resource. There is so much
Yes.
information out there on all of these topics. Another resource that I used was BIF, Boston Institutes of Finance. I know
Yep.
they do the education and they also have a review, but they also have a BIF Bites
What
podcast.
is that?
So
Ooh, okay.
yes, where they will,
Okay.
leading up to the exam, they will focus on a specific area. Like they'll say, okay, today we're going to talk about Sharpe
Really?
ratio, Sharpe
Okay.
ratio. And it's like, just like 5, 10 minutes over that one subject. And I found that
That's
to be really helpful
that
as
is the
well.
key
Yeah.
because I mean, given that I took it and passed on the third time, it's like,
Hmm.
what do I need to do different? But it
Hmm.
was, when you have the certain programs, it goes about it, but you can only read that thing so many times. Sometimes
Yes.
like the
Yes.
YouTube or it sounds like the
Hmm.
Biff podcast, they're
Yes.
short 5, 10 minute
Hmm.
blurbs that
Yes.
really dive into something super specific, which
Yes. Mhm.
I
And
don't know if you
sometimes just hearing it from a explained in a different way can help, if you're
yeah.
if you're struggling with a subject matter, just
Mhm.
hearing someone else put it in a different way than maybe you've seen it in your course material can
Yeah.
help. Yeah. Hmm.
Now,
Yes.
I have a question for you. As far
Sure.
because a lot of people I've talked to and that have been, that I've um, done the conversations with, we're all retakers. You
Hmm.
passed first time,
Hmm.
unbelievable. What made you get a tutor on your first attempt? Because most people have to like get stabbed in the gut and then they're like, oh, I got to
Hmm.
do something different type thing. What made you, not just, I don't want to say trust the process in one program, but
Hmm.
I feel like a lot of programs, it's like, just do what we're telling you, it will
Yes.
work. Now,
Yes.
why did you decide to do Kaplan questions, the
Hmm.
breakthrough questions, get tutor with Paul? Like,
Yes.
you're
So
clearly
I
smart, but like, what?
no, I agree with what you're saying because Danko is the same approach where you don't need to do anything outside of our program, but that comes down to knowing yourself and your learning styles and what kind of a student you are. Like, as soon as they said you don't need to buy any other test banks, I'm like, nope, that might be true for everybody else, but I need a test bank. So trust yourself and what you know. So I kind of wanted to just throw everything, like the whole kitchen sink, at this attempt because I didn't want to have to come back and do it again, if at all possible. Because, like, I have a coworker in my office. She was like, she took it the first time, didn't pass, but it was because she didn't take it as seriously as she should have. And so I was like, okay. And I actually heard that from a couple of people. And I was like, okay, well, I don't want to deal
Just
with this
throw it all in
anymore.
there, get it out.
Yes. I don't, I like to learn new things, but I don't like to study.
Right. You
So
don't
I
want to
was
drag it
like,
out for like this.
yes. Yeah, so I was like, I'm gonna give it 100% this time. If I don't pass, I'll still be very far along the road of preparation, and then I'll just go back and take it. But I got lucky, and I want to say to your listeners, there is an element of luck in it because there are different tests that they're giving during that same testing
Yep.
window. I mean, I was very much hoping for a calculator heavy test because those questions are not subjective. You either
Yep.
pick the right
It's right or
answer
wrong.
or not. Yes.
Yep.
Whereas a
Yep.
lot of the stuff dealing with standards, dealing with what do you do in this client situation, that can be very, very
Which
subjective
is least wrong of the
of the
options.
wrong answers. I had a coworker describe it that way. He's like, you're choosing the least wrong of all these wrong answers. Like, I would never do any of these things in practice, but I've got to
Right.
say, pick the answer. So yeah, I mean, I would encourage people to just know what your learning style is and know what you need to do to get across that finish line. Because yes, every review or education provider is going to tell you you don't need anything
You don't
else
need anything else.
unless what
Exactly.
we're doing here, but you need to know
Yep.
yourself. And so coming down to like those last 2 or 3 months, I was still feeling like I needed that extra preparation. And that's when I reached out to the tutor, to Paul.
Okay. Got
Yeah.
it.
Hmm.
Wow. No,
Yeah.
I think the questions, the Q banks is so important. I mean,
Hmm.
when I worked with Paul from the beginning, he said the last month they're going to do 100 questions a day. And I was like, this
Hmm.
guy's out of his mind. No chance in the world.
Yeah.
Mentally, physically, emotionally cannot handle that.
Hmm.
And having testing anxiety, it was like exposure therapy. And it
Yes.
became so
Yes.
boom, boom, that you didn't even
Hmm.
have time to think and second guess. It was, you were just doing them over and over
Yes.
and over again,
Hmm.
which for the exam, with the 170 questions, it was less than 2 days of
Yeah.
Paul's or
Yeah.
whoever Kaplan's questions. And
Hmm.
I think what's also nice is you can, what I think we could do this with the Kaplan Q Bank, correct me if I'm wrong, but like you could pick different sections
Yes. Yes.
or you
That's
could
why I
shuffle it
liked that
up
Q bank. Yes.
versus,
Hmm.
loved Danko's program, but I wasn't able to have a test bank to go through and shuffle up. And
Yes.
I was starting to memorize answers. And I'm like, that's not helping me.
Yeah.
And so, do I
Yeah.
actually know this answer, or is it
Right.
more, I've done it 50 times, so this is the right
Yes.
answer?
Yes. No, that you make excellent points. Yes. Kaplan's program, yes, they do have a Q bank where you can do it by sections. I also know some people that have done Dalton. They
Yeah.
don't have a standalone Q bank. It's part of their whole review
Right. You can't get it
program.
unless you're
Right.
in it.
But if you're in Dalton, their question bank is also the same way. You can sort of pick areas or you can
Okay.
mix everything up and do it
Yeah,
that
I had
way.
said to Paul
Yeah.
when I started tutoring, I'm like, this is ridiculous. I cannot get Q banks anywhere. Like, I did do the Capitol one. I think it was
Hmm.
1,000 for each. Like, you could get a
Yeah.
thousand and then 1,000.
Hmm.
And I was like, you better get some questions because I want some questions that I can. And it's
Yes.
just helpful. I don't want to say
Hmm.
the exam was not easy on the third attempt. However, I had prepared so differently that it
Hmm.
was, there was like a calmness going into it.
Yeah.
Almost of,
Yeah.
I've done everything I possibly can. The first
Yes.
two, and I'm sure you've heard this from, coworkers and other people, but like you think you're giving it your all, you think you're
Hmm.
sacrificing. And then
Yes.
once you actually pass, you're like, oh, that's what they meant.
Yeah, yeah. It's so interesting. Oh, there was something else I was going to say. Yes, another thing that I did, which was part of my whole kitchen sink process, you get the free um
Yes,
practice
exam.
exam when
Yep.
you register. I also purchased the second one because you can
Okay.
buy an additional one. And I
Yep.
did both of them. I think like a lot of people, I found that those exams were a lot easier than what I actually experienced on test day,
Yep.
but I would still encourage people to take them because it's going to be exactly like how it is when you're in that prometric testing center. So you get
Yes,
to
the
see the
action.
format, you get to practice with crossing out if you like to
Yeah,
do that, you get to practice pulling up the PDFs to read the case history. It's still a good exercise, even though I found the actual exam to be a lot harder.
yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's
Mhm.
a really good point. We're gonna call this one, by the way, the kitchen
Mhm.
sink process because I
Yes.
love it. And then, okay, so you went from being a controller and in
Mhm.
as a CPA for 25
Mhm.
years to starting as an associate at the current
Yes.
location. How
Mhm.
did you handle that? How did you mentally, financial, like what was the, clearly there was some urgency to get that CFP so you could
Yes.
get up
Mhm.
the career path, but like walk me through some of that.
Yeah, so, yes, I did need to prepare for it financially, and it's myself and my husband. We don't have any children,
Okay.
but we had always, from the time we had planned to get married, said we're going to live as much as possible on one salary. So have one salary that will at least cover all the living expenses, so that it would
Yeah.
give us some flexibility. So I was able to take a pretty significant pay cut
Yep.
to start over at that associate advisor level.
Yeah.
And that was also another, I think, impetus for me to pass, pretty much that was what, within
Immediately.
6 months of me
Yeah.
starting, is because my boss told me, okay, because we had talked about all of that, coming in as a career changer versus someone who's fresh out of college. He's like,
Right.
if you pass the exam, we can promote you. And they did. I passed in November and I got promoted to FA1 in December. So that
Okay.
was that, yes. But I mean, other than that, coming in, I'm one of the oldest people in the office.
So you're
We
mature.
have
I call it mature.
we have a very young staff here, but I mean, I had no problem with that. You just have to be humble. I mean, I know I'm starting from scratch in this profession, and these guys, even though they're younger than me, they've been doing it a while, and I know they have a lot to teach me. So that, and everyone here has been really, really great. Like I've really enjoyed it. And it's been what I was expecting. And I love the opportunity to build my own business, because even though
Mhm.
I'm at a firm, the clients that I am bringing on, they don't belong to me, but still, it's like you're building your book of business. And like I
Yeah.
was telling one of my coworkers, I like it here. I really like working in the firm environment, but if I were to ever leave, or for some reason, unfortunately, they decided to eliminate my position, I've already decided that I would go into business for myself, because now I've
Yeah.
seen it from the inside. I'm like, yes, I can do this.
From
Yes,
bottom all the way, like,
yes,
and that you came in with a background and understanding like big picture, like with companies, it sounds like.
yes.
So, you
Mhm.
know, you you did get to experience it. It is very rare how humble you are because that is a hard thing, I think, for a lot of people that are
Mhm.
career changers of,
Mhm.
okay, how do I go from being like supernova in whatever
Yes,
I'm doing, whatever you were doing to,
yes.
okay, I need to take a step back. I know I really want to do this, but like for people's ego sometimes, like it's hard. It's
Yeah,
um,
yeah.
but
Mhm.
I think you made a good point. Like getting that CFP is so important at that point
Yeah.
because
Mhm.
you are, 5, 10, 15, 20 years past where some of the other associates might be coming in. And it's
Mhm.
what do you have to kind of put out there of,
Right.
well, I have this and the
Mhm.
CFP, and now you can run. And you're willing to learn from everybody
Yes.
around you, regardless
Mhm.
of the age, regardless of, which I think is huge because we all have something we can learn from each
Yeah,
other.
absolutely. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah, and also been able to bring things that I've learned in my career to this job. I'm a power Excel user, which is handy for some people in the office who are not power Excel users. I've been able to help them out, even though I
Yep.
didn't work in tax, because when I was in public accounting, I was an auditor. And
Yep.
then I went into just, corporate back-end accounting after that. I've always taken an interest in tax. And so there are things that I know that have been helpful making this transition. Yeah. So, mhm,
You
yeah.
are a rock star
Mhm,
girl. I love, love, love the kitchen sink process. Like that,
mhm.
I'm going to, I will try to pull together if I can put notes under it of like
Yeah.
different
Yes.
things. So,
Mhm. But just going back to know yourself, because if question banks don't really work for you, you don't have to include that in your kitchen sink. But I'm just saying, be willing to explore all of the preparation tools that are out there for you that you can use.
there's not one perfect, you know, fit for everybody.
Yes.
Do you, I mean, you've had years of experience outside of this, but how did you know yourself, like in terms of what worked for you? Have you been a good test taker in the past? Is there anything you
Hmm.
ever done over the years to find like what works best for me when it comes to studying?
Yes.
Because I would be, I mean, I haven't ever done that, but I know, the visual, the hearing, like all of it for me. But
Hmm.
is there something you use where you took like a little test or something, or how did you know that
Well,
about
it
yourself?
wasn't really a test that I took, but I'll go back to when I was preparing for the CPA exam. Now,
Okay.
way back in my day when I took it, because it's been a long time, it wasn't like how they have it now where, you're doing sections and it's computerized. No, back in my
Okay.
day, it was all four sections, Scantron and pencil, blue book for essays because
Oh
there
my
were essay
goodness.
questions. Yes. And so I took it when I was working in public accounting because the interesting thing is when I came out as an accountant, I actually wasn't planning to become a CPA, but then I went to work in public accounting and that's something that
That's
they just expect from
yeah.
you. So then I started preparing, but public accounting, it's so busy. You're working all the time. It's like I don't have time to study for this exam. So I had to strategize a little bit. So back then, if you were coming in as a first test taker, and I never set out to pass the CPA exam the first time because I knew with the amount of time that I had to study, I would not be able to do it. Yes. But when you were coming in for the first time, you had to condition what conditioning meant was you had to pass two of the four sections in order to keep them. Like you couldn't pass one and then they give you that pass and then you come back and take three. If you didn't pass two, that one section that you passed didn't matter. You still had to come
Wait,
back
so
and
if
do it
you pass
again.
two and
Mhm.
then you go back and retake it, you only have to do the other two.
Yes. Yes.
Oh,
But
wow.
if you
Okay.
only passed one, you had to come back and do all
Oh,
four again. Yes,
oh,
it
I
was
just got
brutal.
goosebumps. Like that
Yeah.
makes it. Ugh. Okay.
So I strategized and I was like, okay, what two sections can I really focus on to pass? And I was doing auditing. So that was something I was doing every day. So that was something that the subject matter was fresh in my mind. So I picked audit and there was like a business law section, I think was what it was called.
Regulation,
Yes,
BC. Oh my
yes,
God.
yes.
I'm having nightmares thinking back on
Yes.
that.
So those were the two that I picked to focus on. And so what I would do is I didn't do Becker or any of the other courses, but I got the Wiley books and I would just answer questions all the time. That was my study. That was how I studied. And then, we had a policy at the firm I was working at where, it's busy season, nobody can take any time off, but you accrued those extra hours to use whenever you. So I took the 2 weeks off before the first time I sat and I just answered questions for like those 2 weeks. And so that is something that gave me a clue
You've
that that
known.
is a process that works for me. Yeah. And another thing that clued me into that is my learning style is whenever I would take continuing education, girl, oh my God, the continuing education oh my goodness. It's like, people come into yes. It's like whether it's 4 hours a day or you're going to a conference, they just throw all this information at you.
My
These are
brain
the
can't
new,
handle this.
yes, these are the new regulations. These are the
Yep.
new ways. I'm like, where are my examples? I need like
Show
10
me,
real world
apply it. Then
practical
I can remember it.
yes, yes. I'm never going to remember this if I never have to apply it. Doing the questions is
Yes.
applying. So yeah, so I kind of knew, that's how I kind of figured out that's what I need to do to learn this material. Yeah.
Incredible,
Mhm.
incredible. I really wish you lived up closer to Boston because I would probably grab coffee with you all the
Oh,
time.
absolutely. Yes. If you're
No,
ever in
but
Atlanta, let me know. We'll do something.
no, but I really appreciate you,
Yeah.
taking the time to share
Mhm.
your journey.
Mhm.
But I think, uh, fortunately you took it once and passed, but what you have shared about literally the kitchen sink process of do as much as you possibly can in every area, and there's not one direct like program or
Yes.
direction, like yeah, one program to
Mhm.
use.
Right.
I think that is huge, and being
Yeah.
humble and doing what you needed to do. It's like
Yeah.
you knew you did not want to take it again. And if you were going to have to take it again, at least know that you have done absolutely
Yes.
everything in your
Everything.
power
Yes.
to pass.
Mhm. Absolutely.
So,
And just a couple of these were some test day tips that I got
ooh,
from, I think it was
okay.
Reddit. Oh, it's just a couple more things I want to leave you to listen to
Yes.
this. Our CFP exam, if you're a subreddit person, I love Reddit. There's a
Okay.
good CFP exam subreddit where people can give you some information. Test taking for test day, don't use your phone.
Oh yeah,
Like I
no.
got up, I did not check any email. I did not check any text messages until I was done with that test at 2 o'clock because I didn't want anything, any work
Blinders.
catastrophe, any emergency friend or family is having to take me out of that test taking zone.
No,
Because you get breaks, resist
no, stay
checking
in the
your
zone.
phone.
Don't
Everything will
talk to
be there.
anybody.
Yes,
Don't. I went into the
yes.
car for lunch. I saw
Mm-hmm.
people sitting there. I'm like, I'm not talking. The first time I was like trying to talk to people, and then I was like,
Yes,
what the heck am I doing? And
yes.
afterwards, like you are in the zone. It's like the horses with the blinders on. Do not
Mm-hmm.
look anywhere. Do not
Yes,
ask anybody how they're doing.
yes.
What exam they're there for. Just stay
Yeah.
in the zone.
Just focus on that exam. Everything will be there for you once you're finished taking the test. Then the other thing that was really helpful, which was a little hard for me, but I did it and I'm happy that I did, was people said, try as much as possible not to study the day before the exam. That was hard for me to do. I'm like, what? I'm not even going to answer any questions, but I'm very glad that I did because I was surprised going into the second half after lunch how fatigued
Recharged.
I already was. Like, don't underestimate how much
No,
this
I
test takes out of you. So, not studying the day before, I felt
yes.
went a long way to keep me fresh for that 6 hours that I was there. I told one of my supervisors here because he also back in the day was an accountant. He's like, "Deann, what do you think is harder, the CPA exam or the CFP exam?" I'm like, "The CFP exam." Because like I was saying, the CPA exam, you can strategize and take that in
Yes.
sections. The CFP exam, I've heard people describe it as a million miles long, but an inch deep. And that is a I mean, you have the amount of material that you have to be familiar with
And
is
you think there's like
insane.
one or two where you're like, oh, I just can't get this. I'll just skip it. And then you get like 10 questions on it. And then something that you may
Exactly.
have spent
Exactly.
days studying, you don't get a question on.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like how I was saying I wanted a calculator exam. I didn't. I probably pulled out my calculator like 4 times.
Right. And
And
then some
so that
people take it out like 20 times. Like you just never
yes.
know. So it's
Yes.
like
And
you
so it's
gotta be,
impossible to know. And so I don't want to downplay
yeah,
luck in the exam. Absolutely, you have to prepare. But at the same time, and I would put this at maybe like 5%, there is an element of will I get the questions that I know, the material that I know?
yeah.
So, yeah.
I
So,
will
I mean, if you
say,
haven't passed and you feel like you prepared well, but you just didn't get a good draw of questions, you can't control that. You just
can't,
have
you
to
really can't.
do what you can. Yeah.
And I will say, I will wrap it with this, but like the taking the day off before, I was so nervous to do that the first two.
Hmm.
First one, not really. I stressed about it all day. The
Hmm.
second one, I stopped by noon and then I was like, but then just anxious all day. So this time, I think I took a day and a half off.
Hmm.
Like I stopped the noon before the like 2 days
Yes.
before.
2 days
But then I was
before.
like, if
Hmm.
I'm just sitting here, I'm gonna absolutely go crazy. So I
Hmm.
scheduled a 2 hour float, the salt floats, because you literally
Oh,
can't do anything
yes,
but float.
yes.
And then I did like a hot, like this bag sauna thing. I saw my
Yes.
nephew. Like
Yeah.
I booked the day where I didn't have to
Yeah.
think about anything, but things that
Yes.
would bring me joy and lower, like
Yes.
keep me calm.
Yes. No, that is exactly what you're supposed to do. Like, absolutely don't take the day off and then just be there stressing about the fact you're
No,
not
that's
studying.
right.
Plan relaxing activities that take your mind off of it. And yeah,
Because at that
that's
point,
that's
like you have
great.
studied so much that nothing else you look at that point,
Mhm.
you've done everything you can.
Yeah.
And not bringing the test taking or the test materials to the exam,
Yeah. I didn't do that either.
just
Yes.
in case I can
Yeah.
look at it. No, check with that. It's all in here.
Yes, it is. It is. But
Well, thank you for
that
taking
was
the time. It was an
no
absolute pleasure
problem. This has
getting
been
to chat
fun.
with you. And I will definitely reach out when I'm in Atlanta. I don't know when, but maybe I'll make a trip
Mhm.
down there to
Yes,
get to meet you.
absolutely. We'll go do something. Thank you, Jessica. It was wonderful to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
Yes. Bye bye.
Bye.